Well, we heard a lot of beeps, so hopefully you'll be kind of trickling into the clear slide URL, but we're really excited that everybody was able to join us on relatively short notice, an impromptu kind of webinar on this really cool platform that I should introduce myself first. This is Kristen Gilbert. I'm the branch chief for communications and digital services within the Division of Visitor Services and Communications for the National Wildlife Refuge System at headquarters. So kind of in my role, I hopefully work to support all our visitor services professionals in finding the coolest technology and most up-to-date technology to help you guys do your jobs better. And Debbie Moore, who is our volunteer coordinator, actually saw a presentation by Agents Discovery at our Partners Outdoors conference that happens here in DC every year and was pretty blown away with it. And a couple other people, Linda Walker, our division chief, also saw it, and we were really impressed. And we kind of had some other presentations around this, and we're really excited because it's not your typical, like third-party app where you kind of give control over to a contractor and they do all the work and then give it back to you and it's done. It's kind of more of a living platform where you can design exciting augmented reality games for any visitor or youth or any audience you want to target at your site, and it's geolocated. You're gonna learn all about it, but I was very impressed with the technology and its ability to give freedom to the field in terms of creating their own experiences for visitors based on their sites. And so we've been talking back and forth, and the Forest Service has been using this product for a while, and we have MChat, who is the coordinator, MChat Edwards, who's the coordinator with the Forest Service, who's been working on this platform since 2015. And we'll hear from him a little bit more. But we reached out, and Agents of Discovery reached out to us, and we formed a partnership to pilot some of these platforms at different places. On refuges, which is exciting, and hopefully in partnership with the Forest Service wherever possible. So this webinar is really going to kind of go over and cover all the different facets of how to use this platform and its possibilities, as well as how you can apply to use it at your station. And I'll turn the time over to have Mary Clark and Oliver and the Agents of Discovery team introduce themselves so you guys know when they're presenting who they are and a little bit about their background and how they got into this.
Great. Well, I'll get started. My name is Oliver, and I've been with Agents of Discovery for a little over 2.5 years, and excited to be part of this. I love working for this company because we're getting kids active and outdoors, and I'm a huge outdoor enthusiast. I will be doing the demonstration of the John Hines mission today, which is a mission that's been set up with Agents of Discovery, and they're just in the process of setting up their mission. So yeah, I'll be showing that later in the presentation.
Great. Yeah, my name is Mary Clark. I'm the CEO of Agents of Discovery. I have a long background with getting kids engaged with the out of doors. I started my career as a teacher and outdoor educator. I have a master's degree in educational technology and specifically in the use of augmented reality games to enhance STEM learning. So very excited to be on the call today with you.
MChat, did I give you enough of a good introduction, or do you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself too?
I can, sure. I'm MChat Edwards. I'm an educator with the U.S. Forest Service. I've been doing environmental education now professionally for 20 years. I am most familiar with Patuxent Wildlife Refuge. That's the one that I most often go to visit. Not that I'm going to play favorites on this call at all. I think everybody will be able to enjoy it.
Great. Yeah. Well, it looks like from the chat box we have quite a wide variety from across the country of people kind of tuning in to find out what this platform's all about. And for our guests, or like for the people, the presenters, we have we're represented. It looks like all the way from Alaska all the way to the East Coast here. And we also have another participant, the intern at Vida Oro, who's also been using Agents of Discovery, and so hopefully she can share her experience too, and will be a good. Her name's Hannah Redwood. Will be a good testimonial for this too. But we'll go ahead and kick off the presentation, which I'll start, and just on these. As we all know, we've been kind of grappling with technology change and demographic change and all this change that's happening in our world. And, we as visitor services professionals have been trying to figure out exactly how we should be interpreting all the cultural and natural resources we are responsible for, and changing to adapt to that. And I think I don't have slide control, I'm anticipating. Right.
No, I can change the slides for you.
Yeah, you just say next.
Okay, next. Okay. And what's exciting is that we can augment interpretation with a new approach, and that's obviously a pun, because it, just like with the Pokemon Go craze and all the stuff that we were witness to kind of on the front line as people were coming to our refuge to try to interact with the environment in a new way, we have an opportunity to figure out how to make it more interpretive and educational, and based on the resources and amazing things we have at all of our wildlife refuges to interact with the environment in the same way that everybody wants to these days. So that's pretty exciting, and that's kind of what the Agents of Discovery platform is going to offer to us. Next. And I know that Mary will talk more about this too, but it's, we grapple with this idea that, we have we're trying to get our visitors and kids and anybody who comes to our sites to interact in a meaningful way, but we're getting them to also move around, not be behind just, touch screens or things in visitor centers, but to get out and incorporate in their play and also learn a little bit at the same time. So this is also a platform that can offer us that as well. Next. And I'll turn this over to MChat to kind of talk about how the Forest Service has been using this platform for a while now, and some of the stuff they've learned, and how they found it useful.
Thank you so much. Yep. So I have the pleasure of working with folks over at Agents of Discovery with this mobile gaming platform, and I'm just going to be honest about everything, even to the point of saying that I was not a fan when the idea was initially brought to me, because I couldn't picture it. I'm thinking, hey, we want to get kids into the outdoors. Why am I going to try and have them staring at their phones? It just did not make sense to me. And as awesome of an interpreter and educator as I feel like I am, I want kids listening to me and not their video games. Spoiler alert, it is actually, you do actually get to use your own words and voice and tone and sorts of things when you're phrasing questions and challenges. You'll be able to do that later. So as awesome as you are, know that you're not being replaced by a cell phone, right? So if that's your concern, don't worry, I can allay that fear. Allay that fear. So, the Forest Service, we ended up investing in a network of almost 70 sites. Because when we saw the way that it could work in a very urban area, even like Washington D.C., our higher ups that run the National Forest System, they saw it and said, "Hey, we want this on every single forest. How do we do that?" And so we've started with a network of 70, and I can talk a bit about that if more as we go on. But if you go to the next slide for me, Oliver, you'll see that those photos there, we've got everything from Alaska. Those are the two on the top left, or top and bottom left. So we're, as far as Alaska, we're right in Washington, D.C. and urban areas, so we're a bit of everywhere. We've got even a forest in Guam coming online. So it doesn't matter the climate. It doesn't matter how remote you are. The beauty is, even in a wildlife refuge where you might not have cell phone coverage, kids can still play the game. They can still have, it's almost like having an interpreter walk right with them through the entire process. So that's pretty beautiful when you see it in action. I would like you to go to the next slide, please, Oliver. This is just a listing of our Forest Service affiliated sites. We have one coming on in Philadelphia soon that's in partnership with Fish and Wildlife Service, so I'm happy to announce that. But on this map, there will be a few more coming in that bottom right corner. That's our Region 8. I'm not sure exactly how our overlap on region nomenclature works, but we are also filling in. You'll see some popping up in Georgia, and as we work to fill in that piece of the map. I'm sure you can't read those tiny little names, but we're working to be in every single region so that as kids play, the network encourages them to jump to the next site and explore and play more in those. And we even have a bit of an explanation of how that network and regional hub works when we talk about Southern California later. The way that we rolled out our Forest Service agreement is we basically connected with our field units and asked them if they wanted a site. And then from the Washington office, we kind of helped support. We helped support that financially. We helped to populate some content so that if we had a site that was ready to just start their mission site immediately, they could pull from questions that were already pre-approved and that sort of thing. So it is one big happy family. So where you see those individual dots, they are also part of a bigger constellation. And I just want you to keep that in mind. And even as you all come online, all of these dots that you see here will actually be supporting yours as well, because it is essentially a constellation concept as the sites promote each other. How about the next slide? Thank you. All right, so here's my story. I didn't understand how kids were going to be playing on their video games and learn. I just didn't get it. I mean, I've played educational video games. In fact, I learned, Mavis Beacon taught me how to type a long time ago, for anybody that's approximately my age. So, I mean, kids nowadays are just interacting with each other very differently than we used to. And so figuring out how to get kids off that couch, we're happy to report that in terms of relevancy, we've got kids hiking 1.5 miles every time they play a game. That's their average. They're averaging 1.5 miles of a hike as they play our game. I mean, and that's just mind-blowing to me. I'm really happy to see that, because this is what kids need. Kids have access to the cell phone technology. It's already in their hands. It's already in their pocket. They're already familiar with using it. And so when we talk about relevance, it speaks directly to kids. When they open up the initial screen, the welcoming center, there's a welcome center, and the kids just naturally know to go to it. There's no sign on there, but they say, oh, look, there's a tree in the middle of the forest with a door. Oh, this must be my headquarters, and then they're immediately in the headquarters. It's amazing. It's as if the kids designed this game and they just know what to do. You don't have to hold their hand. They get it. It totally works with them. So let's go to the next slide, please, because I also want to say how engaging the game is. There is a slide coming up in a minute about the site that we have in Washington, D.C., but what I really love about seeing people play this is they're not just walking past stuff. my mission site is set up in a basically a corridor, an urban corridor, where people are walking from one place to the next, and it's just a thoroughfare. It's not really much to stop and explore unless you have a trained eye or an interpreter walking with you. So enter the discovery. So it's engaging in the way that I've seen kids stop, identify a tree, stop and identify the culinary herbs that are set outside of the USDA agriculture building. Stop and sniff those. I've watched them stop and check out the history of the restoration chestnut. I mean, things that most people are walking by, the people that are playing the game, they stop and look and touch and smell, and they're really becoming involved. So it's engaging. They get one answer right, and then they have the ability to go on to the next question, and you just see their faces light up. I mean, it's really impressive. I hope I don't sound like a salesman right now, because I'm not trying to sell you. I'm just sharing with you my experience and how cool it is to see the kids having a good time. Can we have the next slide, please? All right, so yeah, this is where my mission site is. We're interpreting this city block, and we've got a honeybee. That's our avatar. So that's basically the interpreter that walks around with our kids. It's a big honeybee. So there's this whole theme of pollination along the way. And so we stop and celebrate Woodsy Owl and conservation efforts using a trash compactor on the side of the street. We teach kids orienteering based on the layout of the streets and the grid pattern on the map. I mean, we're literally using the environment that we have to teach lessons that are really important, that are going to help benefit them in other places. So a cool thing is one of the question types is like an image maker, an image match. And so I get to the image match answer by leading them through a series of questions here on this very street corner. You know, they recognize that the number streets run north and south, and the name streets run east and west. And so based on that information, after having identified their Colorado blue spruce that was planted for Smokey Bear's 50th birthday, they're getting all this history, we say, hey, how about you turn in the direction of Colorado? And so now what are you looking at? And it just so happens that the thing that they'd be facing is the Washington Monument. And so then, there's just this, they're in the middle of the game. They're no longer playing it on their screen. They're inside of the game. I mean, it's fun to see. It's fun to see their faces light up as they win these challenges and points and coins and all that stuff. So you can't see the whole thing unless you come to DC, which I'd be happy for you to come and check out. But the rest of this ends up at a place called the People's Garden, where they can see the produce and things that we grow and share with food pantries, and just kind of see the ways that you can grow food in an urban area. And that's really what we're talking about in this mission, which is going to be very different from one of our missions out on a forest, where we might use a bird call challenge, or we might use a listen for the sound challenge, or we might do a color matching challenge, or look at the markings of the so-and-so, or go and read the interpretive sign over there and then answer this series of questions. You can do it all. It's all inside of the game, and that's really what keeps us exciting for me, is coming up with new ways of utilizing the types of challenges that are in here. And I know Mary, I'm actually going to have Mary come up and talk about the different types of challenges. But are there any questions for me up until this point that I'm happy to share with you? There will also be a question and answer at the end, but I might need to jump off a few minutes early just to run to another meeting. So if there's any question that you have, I'm happy to start that now.
Sounds like nobody does, but if you do get a question, you can put it in the chat box, and I'll try to stop and chat, and we can address it. There was a cell coverage question earlier, but I think we can have the Agents of Discovery folks address that one.
I can even cover that right now if you want. You do not need to have coverage once you've downloaded the game. That's the big key. I want you all to be successful in this. If you're coming into the network, I really want you to be successful. So communicate with people before they come. or while they are in cell phone range to download everything. But then once it's downloaded, no, you don't have to be on cell phone coverage, not at all. You just need to have your GPS turned on and you can play.
Geospatial based?
Yeah, and this is Oliver from Agents of Discovery. I just want to jump in. Yeah, so it uses the GPS built into your device rather than using Wi-Fi or data connection to triangulate your position while you're playing the game.
Hi, this is Ellen at Tennessee Refuge. I just have a quick question, too. There are often on refuges places can't go, sanctuary areas or things that we don't want the public to go. Does this game help you keep people into the areas you want them to go and get them out of the areas you don't want them to go?
Absolutely. And yeah, this is Oliver. I can take that question. Basically, you are empowered to create missions and place these geolocated challenges, which you see on the screen right now, in locations that are safe and appropriate for your location. So unlike Pokemon Go, which didn't give you any say in the process, Agents of Discovery gives you the power to put those challenges in appropriate locations. And we also anticipate something of the equivalent of Harry Potter Go launching in 2018. So this is a great alternative to have in place before that launches.
And we are getting a few more questions about technical aspects that I think might be covered later on. So, and Chad, if you have more stuff related to your Forest Service experience that you want to share with us, maybe that would be good too.
I'm going to try and stick around as long as possible. Yeah, I'm going to try and stick around as long as possible. Overall, we had a very positive response. And we've had some fits and starts and stumbles in the beginning, just helping people to understand how to get for them to understand how this is not a project that needs to be dedicated to one particular staff and that becomes their entire job. It's really not that involved. If you can update your Facebook status and profile, you can do this.
Great. What has been one of your biggest stumbles working with somebody that does this? Like one of the biggest challenges faced?
In the beginning, just helping them to understand that they'll need to promote both on site and, if possible, maybe on their websites before folks come out. But that on site advertisement is so important because the game lives inside your phone. You know, like you don't have to make any changes you don't have to make any alterations to the physical plant. So people won't know it's there unless you're advertising it. So a sign that clearly says, hey, you are at a mission site, go ahead and start to play. And Agents of Discovery has been great about providing those graphics and that, you know, they'll design the flyer for you, but it is very important for you to get those things out so that people can see it. But agents, they make it easy for you. It's there. You just have to know that you'll need to get those signs out. And other than that, pretty straightforward.
And Amchat, we just had a question come in about a physical sign that would need to be installed, and I just want to mention that when you come on board, our senior graphic artist at Agents of Discovery works with you to develop a customized poster, which you can print off and have implemented at your location.
It's beautiful artwork. I mean, it's all cartoonized, and it draws your eye to it. You go, hey, what's this? And once it says you're at a mission site, play now. That's when you start to see faces light up. And I'm sorry, Mary, I've kind of stolen your show here. We had a whole plan that you would go.
No, this is great. No, there's no show. It's just, and I'm so glad that someone asked about the safety and the location of where the games are played, because that's such a key part of this, is that you are in control and your players are going to play your mission where you want them to, because you control the location, you control the content, you control everything. This is a tool for you to use to present your material in a way that is relevant and engaging. So that's such a good question. Okay, any more questions for AmChat then? I thought you might really want to hear from him. They have been, really working with us for over 2 years, and he has a tremendous amount of agency-based familiarity with the program and the platform and so on.
Mary, we did have a question come in about the poster example, and I just brought it up on the screen to give you an idea of what the template could look like. This is just a template, but we have specific examples too, which we can share with you from specific locations as well.
So you pick your mission's avatar that is important to you, whatever you want that is relevant to your location, a flagship species, something that matters to you, and that becomes the avatar for your location. That's your personal guide, and that is reflected in your signage.
Yeah, and I've just brought up an example of the Alaska State Museum poster, so you can kind of start to get an idea of what some of the different locations are doing to encourage users or visitors to download the Agents of Discovery mission at their location.
Okay. Any other questions then for AmChat?
No, I think
Oliver,
we're good
can you
we're
go to the next slide, challenge types, please?
Absolutely. I'm on challenge types now.
So when you go to create your content, you have a wide variety of choices of the way that you want to present it. You can do an AR catch that is very similar to what Pokemon Go used. Instead of catching Pokemonsters, you have choices with bees and honeycombs and butterflies and all kinds of things that you can use. You can do text, you can do color pickers, audio challenges where the kids have to learn perhaps to match the sound of a bird with the image of the bird. You can have open-ended challenges where the players are going to just take photos or share their experience at the wildlife refuge, or record temperature, whatever it is that you want them to do, but you have a wide choice of challenge types that you can provide for your users to engage with your game. Okay, next. And this is just a bit of a drill down. This is an augmented reality catch. This is showing you, this is the butterfly one, and the kids have to swipe a flower app. If any of you, I doubt many of you on the phone play Pokemon Go, but you have to swipe a Pokeball and catch a Pokemonster. In this, you swipe a flower and catch a butterfly. These are fun educational challenges where you can put in pre and post content about monarchs or about wildlife that the kids read and learn. So they have educational value and they're really fun to play. Okay, next. This is the augmented reality scavenger hunt. These are super cool. We have two. Our partner is Harvard University's Encyclopedia of Life. We have been working with them for 2.5 years as we started Agents of Discovery. And the two that we have developed are one about invasive species and the other is about recycling. And so you can take invasive species and you drop them along the path. They're invisible. We're talking augmented reality objects. And then the kids have to find them and interact with them. And they either place them as captive cultivated or endangered or invasive, and then they learn about them. So these are options that you have when you go to create your mission. Next slide. So essentially what we do is we turn you into a maker. So you're not going to have, like what Niantic drops a game into your location. Pokemon Go was just dropped into your place, whether you're a national park or Fish and Wildlife Service or municipal park. Everyone just had these objects appear. The difference here is you are the maker. You are the maker. So that you make your own game, you access challenges. We're just going to go through this maker model really quickly, and then Oliver is going to do a live screen share, and we're going to show you an actual mission that some of your team is working on at the John Hines Wildlife Refuge in Pennsylvania. So next slide, please, Oliver. So the N is make a mission, and this is, as Anchat, thank you very much, Anchat was saying, it's really, really easy to do. And we get asked all the time, well, how long does it take? It's missions in minutes. If you're used to updating your social media, you can make a mission very, very easily. So to do that, we provide you with next slide, with a login. And that's Pam. Pam is your personal administration mole. She's going to be there to walk you through how to create your mission. And we give you your login credentials, you enter those, and then you can get started making your own mission at your location. Okay, next. Now, we showed you the kinds of challenges. You've got lots of options, the types of challenges. You have two choices. You can either make your own challenge, and we have an API with Harvard University's Encyclopedia of Life, which gives you access to millions of media files, both audio and visual. So whatever species in the entire U.S. you wanted to do, whether it's plant, animal, vertebrate, invertebrate, you will have access to millions of photos. You can use your own if you want, but the point is you can easily create challenges about any living thing that you want to point out along your trail. Or you can access challenges that are already in the library that have been created maybe by Forest Service staff, other Fish and Wildlife Service. It's your choice. Make your own or access from the library. Next slide. And to access it from the library, you can search, put in the theme or keyword, or maybe the type of challenge. You select the search you want, and then those challenges will appear. You click add, and they will instantly populate into your mission. They'll show up in your map, and then you will click and drag them to wherever you want them on the trail. It's that simple. We call it missions in minutes. So before we move into the K, I think, Oliver, if you could take over and I think it would be fun for everyone to see the John Hines Wildlife Refuge, what they have done so far, a real living example. And do we have someone on the call, Kirsten, do you know, who actually created the mission at John Hines?
No,
I'm not sure if they're on the line or not.
We have, the person we have is from Valle de Oro, Hannah.
Oh, okay.
So we could offer, she could show us or say a few things about it.
We could go into that mission. Is it live in the Mission Maker? What's the name of the mission?
Yeah, I brought it up on the screen, Mary. It's
okay.
Valle de Oro, and yeah, we could definitely walk through this one as an example. Basically, what I wanted to show everyone is what the map looks like and what the setup is. So you can click add a mission to add a mission to your account, and then publish it to Google Play in the App Store. And here's what it looks like on the back end. So if you guys are following along in the screen share, you can see that there's a number of different fields they have to fill in. And yeah, if we have, and sorry, Hannah, feel free to jump in. You can kind of explain maybe why you selected the content you did, and maybe how you plan on using it.
Yeah, sure thing. This is Hannah. So I helped create the mission here at Valle de Oro, and we have 3 sites here in the Albuquerque area that also have Discovery Agents missions. So the Cibola National Forest at the top of the Sandia Mountains here, and then also our local zoo created a mission at their, they have like a biopark where they have a lot of native plants and native ponds and stuff, so they created a mission there as well. So there are 3 sites that were all kind of connected together. And we sort of targeted our age range at about 4th grade. And as you're going through, it was really easy to make. everything was pretty straightforward and user-friendly. They created our little avatar guy we scrolled past, the little kestrel there, so we were able to say, oh, we want him wearing a Fish and Wildlife Service uniform and some binoculars, and they custom created the little kestrel there for us, he turned out super cute.
Mm-hmm.
We were really excited with him. Yeah, and then so you can specify what area of the refuge or wherever you're working, where you want the mission to be, and then create challenges along that area.
Yeah, thanks so much. And I'm just going to bring up the edit map section so you guys can kind of start to see where the challenges are located, and I'll just explain how you can quickly, easily drag and drop those challenge markers around location. And Hannah, don't worry, I won't save any of this, so it won't affect your mission at all.
Yeah, no worries. I was actually just playing with it a few minutes ago.
Oh, perfect. So like almost done. Yeah, you can drag and drop this to a different location just by moving it around here. So say, yeah, and Hannah, can you give us some insight onto what this challenge is about here? Almost done. We can even
almost done is one of the AR catches with the bees.
Right. So in this one, they have to catch those augmented reality objects. There's a listening challenge here where they have to listen to which species in particular. Do you remember, Hannah?
Ooh,
That's fine.
I don't remember.
We can actually we can actually go into the challenges specifically and see as well. Something that we recently integrated too is you can access all the different challenges that are in your mission right here. So you can see that these are the ones in your mission, and you can edit them directly from this screen, which is kind of cool. So here you can see that it's an AR catch. If you wanted to change the type, you can just click on this drop-down menu. You can also learn more about what these different challenges are. So you can scroll through here and learn more about that, and then click and drag it to a different location if you wanted to update the location. Again, we won't save that, but I also wanted to show you the challenge library as well. So Hannah, have you had a chance to go into the library at all yet and kind of see the challenges available to you there?
No, I have not. So I actually we created this probably maybe 6 months ago or so now, and I was really excited to see that, like, since then, you've added a lot of different, like, new challenge types and new features on the website, and so I was playing around with it. So I'm really excited to, like, kind of go back in and update a lot of things. So, no, I haven't seen that at all.
Great. Well, yeah, I'll go over that in a minute. I just want to show this one's about fungus. So you can kind of see the pre-challenge, how it's broken down. Pre-challenge gives some preamble to the question, and then the question and some images. In this case, it's an image checklist where they have to select all the correct images. And you can see whether they're true or false here, and then the images that Hannah selected for this particular question. We'll go back to challenges and we'll review the library quickly. So like Hannah mentioned, you can create your own challenges or you can copy them from the library here. And what we can do is click on this little filter option, and that allows us to enter a search query here. So if we wanted to do one on squirrels, we could type in squirrel and it'll bring up some challenges on squirrels here. What's really nice is that a lot of these images, in fact, yeah, almost all of these images already have all the copyright information included. So you don't have to worry about whether or not you're trying to find an image. Another nice thing is, say that particular squirrel species didn't work for your area, you could swap out that content as well. You can also search for a particular challenge type here if you wanted to do one on player response, where the player has to interact with what's around them. Say you want them to find a particular wildlife species at your location. You could have them actually take a photo of it or enter some text at that particular location, and then search for those player response challenges there. Something that we're working on and currently in the process is adding more collections to the library. So we currently have the next generation science standards available, which is really relevant for the formal education sector, where they can find different challenges to use and create missions in minutes, as Mary explained earlier. There's also a parks and forestry collection here. So you can find all these different cool challenges with parks and forestry themed content. And maybe Mary can elaborate a little bit more on that later. But that's a quick overview of the library. I just wanted to mention that we do more in-depth demonstrations every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. So if you guys are interested in learning more of the specifics, we do those on a weekly basis and can answer any questions that you guys have. But I'll pass the.
And Oliver, did you show what the mission looked like on your phone?
Oh yeah, I can definitely do that. We may. Hannah, is your mission live? We can just check that here.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah, so because yours is live, we can use the John Hines example just for today, just in case someone was on location. Unless you feel comfortable with putting it on preview mode for a few minutes, Hannah, we could show yours as well if you'd like. It's totally up to you.
Either way, it'd be interesting to see what they're doing with John Hines.
Okay, perfect. Well, yeah, what I've done is I've applied the preview mode here, and I've just brought up my device here. And we have this preview mode so you can play your mission without actually having to go to the location to test it out. So it's a really nice feature. Say it's raining outside and you don't want to get soaking wet. You can just enable that check mark and that'll turn on the preview mode. Now, what we have to do is we also have to sync the phone and put that on preview mode as well, so that we'll be able to play this John Hines mission at the John Hines National Wildlife Refuge. So we'll just start as a guest today. Users can sign in and create a profile as well, which will save their progress in the game, and also at the same time provide you with valuable analytics that you can learn more about the users who are visiting your location. What we're doing now is we're just going to swipe over till we get to Maker, to the server setting, and we're going to type in Maker here, and then turn on preview mode and click Save. So now what this means is we can access any mission that is set to preview mode on the back end with this check mark. So
and let's go to Val d'Oro, Oliver. The one.
Yeah, we can. It sounds like because that one's published, Mary, we're gonna leave that one off preview mode.
To disrupt someone who might be playing.
Yeah,
okay.
Just in case. But we have the John Hines one here. So what happens is you can update it, and if you click update, that will bring in any new content that the mission manager has created. But in this case, we'll click play. There's that nice loading image that you saw briefly there, which you can upload. So you can upload a specific image of your wildlife refuge. You can customize this message here as well and include your avatar, or what we call field agent here. We get the out of bounds message simply because we're not on location, but here you can start to see the wildlife refuge, and users will start playing this and they'll move around their device and try and locate the challenges using what's called a scan radius. And there are a combination of directional arrows which help you find those challenges. And as Amchat alluded to earlier, users who play this game are super intuitive, and they pick this up really quickly of how to use the directional finders to find the next challenge. What we're going to do is we're going to enable preview mode just to give you an idea of what it'll look like once they've actually activated the challenge. So in order to activate this challenge, they have to move along the trail, and once they penetrate a geofence, what we call the scan radius, it'll activate it. and this challenge marker will pop up, and they can click on it, and that will bring up the content for this particular challenge. So as you can see, this one's about Warbler's Woods. Say that 3 times really fast, but here you can see some pre-challenge information. And this one is an image 50-50 or an image checklist where they have to check the right one. So in this case, it says, which one shows the fruit of a sweet gum tree? And you can tap on the question, on the answer you think is right. And I'll see that one's wrong. So you can kind of see that they will actually lose USBs if they don't get the answer right. And that's one of the main objectives of this game, is to collect as many USBs, which is the currency in the game. So we're going to tap on the correct answer here on the left and check answer. And now you get this nice post-challenge information space where you can upload your own content, whether it's an image or text below. And then they'll click close. Now this is the completion screen where they can upload a reward screen. So we actually provide them with a digital copy of a badge, which they can upload with their field agent on it. And then they can include some text here to incorporate real-world rewards.
Oliver, we have to just go back to the PowerPoint because we only have about 8 minutes left.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry.
I'm glad everyone is getting a chance to see what this actually looks like. And the key is that you create your mission on your computer, then you click publish, and it instantly publishes into the Play Store and the App Store so that all your users, your visitors, can play it on their phones. So that's what's so cool. You create it, you could change it every day, you could change it every week, update it, move it around with the seasons, and it's always fresh and relevant to your location. So if we go to slide 18, Oliver, I think kids move to play and learn.
Yeah, we're there. Perfect.
Okay, cool. And I think the key thing here we haven't mentioned that you can play in Spanish, French, or English. You can have your mission available in any one of those languages. We have text-to-speech for visually impaired. And we've talked about the fact that users can play as long as the mission is downloaded into their phone. They don't need any Wi-Fi or data connection to play. And so the next slide, this just shows you the geofence that Oliver was talking about that shows up on your phone when you're close to where a marker has been placed. And then the marker will appear. You can see in the next slide, slide 20, the marker appears. And then next slide, the challenge unlocks. And so the player can solve the challenge. So you give them the challenge about the tree, just like the one we just saw, while you know they're standing right by it, so that they engage with what's around them. And that's the key, is getting them to look at what's around them, to pay attention to what is in the wildlife refuge, so they learn about all these amazing things that we want them to be paying attention to. And so the E is evaluating success. Next slide. That allows you to get all kinds of back-end data about who your users are, their age. As Oliver mentioned, if they create an account, you'll be able to tell, how old they are and so on. But you'll always know how many downloads you've got. That number just shows up on your dashboard, so you can track how many users you're getting. It gives you a lot of data. Data is great to have. And then the R for maker is rewards. And Oliver showed you the reward screen. We can provide you with one, or you can make your own. There's lots of options. These are examples of things we've done with Encyclopedia of Life, has cool digital cards about all these species you can use. The kids can publish them to create games. That's something we've been doing in schools. And then next slide, the SoCal Explorer. Amchat was mentioning that at the beginning of the call. This is something we're doing right now in Southern California with the Forest Service and the City of LA and California State Parks and LA County Parks. We have 23 missions in the greater LA, so we're calling it the SoCal Explorer, and we're providing badges for the kids to play. They get a badge, a digital and a real badge, at each mission that they play, and once they've done 3 or more, they can start. 3 or more is the Explorer level. if they visit 3 plus go to a national forest, they get the Super Explorer, and then they can go to all of them. And you can see here a quote that just came in. Next slide, from one of the parent in SoCal. We published this because we thought it was a very beautiful quote, just underscoring like that the game has been like a guide for them, and they have been discovering things they would not otherwise have seen. And that's what's so exciting, is this whole idea of kids love to play games, so getting them motivated to go out and play a mission at your wildlife refuge and really learn what you want them to learn. So next slide. Harry Potter Go, I know Oliver mentioned it, and Niantic has announced that they will be releasing Harry Potter Go sometime in 2018. They are not letting out the month, although people think it will be between April and August. It's going to be 10 to 100 times bigger than Pokemon Go. Harry Potter has a huge following. So I'm just saying that augmented reality gaming is not going away. And this for-profit gaming is just, they use the Google Ingress data to publish in the crowdsourced location. So if you had Pokemon Go at your site, you're going to have Harry Potter Go because they're using the same data for the locations that they purchased from Google several years ago. And so this, I know you had wanted to have some time, Kristen, towards the end to talk about what's involved in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service package. So I'm going to turn it over to you, answer some questions. I hope that we've covered what it is that you all wanted to know about today. And really, Kristen, thank you very much for this time. We'll pass it over to you, and we're open to answering any questions that you may have.
Hey, Mary, before I take the reins, would you mention, there was a question earlier about user stats. I guess what is the success of this platform been in all, like the 64 service sites as well as other uses of it? Where are you seeing like the most success, and what are the user stats normally at a good executed marketing site? Yeah, marketed game location.
Yeah, Amchat, are you still on the line? Okay, we may have lost her. She could have answered. He mentioned the biggest challenge for us, and I think because augmented reality gaming is 2 years down the road from when we started with the Forest Service. I mean, we started with them before Pokemon Go came out, so it's taken a long time to get the signage up. Amchat mentioned that as the biggest. It may sound kind of weird, but that's actually been our biggest challenge. So that a lot of the Forest Service have just gotten their signs up in the last 2 to 3 months, to tell you the truth, a lot of the missions. But the ones, if we were to say a site like City of LA is having great downloads, but they have really good signage. So Vicki we just did a call. I don't know if any of you were on the City of LA call last Wednesday, and she was raving. They've been getting lots of downloads at some of their major parks, like Griffith Park in downtown Los Angeles. So we're talking like hundreds a week of downloads, but it is directly proportional to the amount of promotion, because kids love to play it, but you have got to tell them it's there. You can track your users and try different things and see what works. That's the beauty of having the access to that data yourself. The only thing is if you have devices like City of LA has, where they have bought at some of their sites for their school programs classroom sets of tablets, those don't give you really good downloads because they don't record, since it's the same device being used over and over.
So you guys record downloads, but do you also record just user stats, like when use of the game? Like when people are using it, so when people are checking in.
Yes.
Okay, so you know how many. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can track how many challenges have been done, and
Yeah, exactly. It gives you amazing
okay.
data. The Fish and Wildlife package would be the same. We've offered you the same package as the Forest Service had, which is, the top level in terms of analytics.
Yeah, cool.
And that's just, the access to metrics. And we could do a whole call just on that. But it allows you to know what works and what doesn't work. And Amchat made a very good point that the missions are promoting each other, because as people learn about the opportunity to play, we're really seeing this in Southern California. They want to know, well, where else can I play? So the more sites we build, this is, part of the vision here is to get kids arriving with the game and saying, can I play here? Where do I play? They've played in other locations.
Yeah. So you go to the next slide, I can kind of talk a little bit about what we're planning. We're calling this kind of the Forest Service has been doing this a little bit, and we've looked at headquarters and investing in this as an experiment to see if it's a useful tool and platform for the field to do some interesting interpretive engagement or environmental education engagement. It's a tool that you can use for a wide variety of purposes and include your partners. But so we've already started. Last year we kind of like reached out a little bit, and actually, I think the Forest Service and Agents of Discovery reached out to us, and that's how the Vide Oro site got online. They just jumped on a package with the Forest Service, and then we decided to try this out, and we've identified places that there's already a big Forest Service presence, and are experimenting with it, and that's the John Hines scenario. But as all this stuff is going, and if another Harry Potter Go game's coming out, we want to kind of get ahead of that. And so we're going to make another investment in this fiscal year to try this at more places, more refuges. And so that's what this call is to kind of introduce you guys to the platform and what we're going to try to be experimenting in the next year. And so and it's compared. You'll have to, if you want to participate with this this effort, where the headquarters is kind of taking on the bulk of the cost. This is what the package we're looking at. You'll have a custom, just like those other sites who have those little avatars, you'd get your own customized field agent avatar. Kind of the mapping feature. Did someone? And then I'll get there on the cost end of things. And then for that, you'd get 30 challenges that you can change as often as you like, depending on what you want to accomplish. And you can actually give some of those challenges to partners to maintain if you work with other groups. And the access to the metrics, and then kind of all those other things that are listed on this slide that we could get into more detail about. But I think the biggest thing is the 30 challenges for 3 years, that you would have access to these 30 challenges and be able to manage your mission for 3 years. And then you can kind of evaluate at the end of it whether it was something that was effective for you or not. And then hopefully by then we'll have a better plan about what we would want to do system-wide as well. Was it 2 years hosting or 3 years? It's only 2 years? I thought it was 3 years. Mary, is that?
Hey, Kristen, this is Debbie. It's 3 years.
Yeah, I thought so too. Is that? Well, we could talk about that afterward. But yeah. 2 to 3 years of hosting and support for the package, and so we're just kind of want to reach out to, and we kind of just sent this out through different networks to see who would pick it up, because you guys are interested in trying new things at your sites, and we want you guys to put a little effort into it. Is there another slide, Mary, or is this? I've got to go back and coordinate with what I see what's coming up next. But that's kind of the overview of what we want to do. And
yes, there's just a couple more slides. There's a quote from the city of LA next. That it was really cool. They've been finding the teenagers in LA love this. That was one of the big takeaways from last Wednesday's call.
Great. And so if you're interested in this, I've kind of put this Google form and attached it to the calendar invite, but I'll send it out to everybody who was on this call. You can go through and, kind of set up a proposal for your site. We're requiring that, even if I know we have some friends groups participating here, if you want to participate, you have to have, your project leader or somebody, refuge staff, kind of sponsor your proposal, because only Fish and Wildlife Service personnel can fill out the proposal. And then you'll kind of just give us some basics about it. We do want to maybe, like the Forest Service, like phase implementation, so figure out when the best time to start building this is. And the other thing that comes along with this is kind of what I'm finding with, what we're learning with John Hines and Valle de Oro is, you're not given this product and just expected to understand it. There's kind of like an onboarding process where you work with agents of discovery to kind of learn the platform a little bit better than this very quick overview you received here, and then support in terms of that. But as you can see, I mean, we only started working with John Hines a couple months ago, and they've already kind of started building and working on getting their mission ready to launch. So it's a pretty fast process. It seems like there's not a lot of especially like it's more just understanding the technology. So if you have some interns or younger park rangers that can pick this up pretty fast. But also in the form, after you kind of figure out when you would start building it, we want people to use this, and so we put together these questions around a 25% funding match, which the total cost of this would be the 25% that the field station would be on the hook for is $2,500, and I know that sounds like a lot of money. And we're looking at the potential that we could waive that from our end of things based on your proposal responses. So, what effort do you guys put in to learn what the platform has to offer? And if you can make a good case to us about your interest and investment in at least, being an early adopter on this platform, we're looking at how we might waive that cost. It's just really, we want, like we talked a lot about marketing and promotion. Like if you take this on, we want you to use it as, we want you to be able to market it and promote it so you're getting the downloads, because that's really what it's about more than anything. But then the form kind of chronicles, who kind of asks you some basic questions about how you're going to execute this. And then we'll also consider early adopters, if they're, especially ones that can leverage nearby missions on other public lands. So if there's a Forest Service site or a local park or another Fish and Wildlife Service site like Valle de Oro, for example, nearby, that you guys could kind of, as users start using this, they want to go to other missions. And so we see this as a good opportunity to get, the public from Forest Service lands to refuges, or from one refuge to another refuge. So we'll be looking at sites that we can help kind of get that synergy going as well. So I'll send the link out to the form, and then I think I gave till the 15th of January, just because of the holidays. It's a pretty simple form, but you'll want to think about it, and you'll want to go to the website and look at Agents of Discovery and just kind of see all the facets and learn about it a little bit more. So we have a logistics funding question. When R6 tried to do a different app a few years ago, I was told that a national IT board had to approve FWS funding going to something like this. Has the approval already been obtained? Yes and no is the answer for D. We're doing this all through a partnership with the American Recreation Coalition, and the Forest Service is managing the IT approval end of things. So it's kind of, and whatever their processes are. But at the same time, too, we're working really in a bigger picture element. We're working closely with IT to kind of just have them understand a better idea of what all these different apps are and how they're integral to us doing any of our work. And so hopefully we'll get some, actually help them understand where our needs a little bit better so they can help us fill those. But by working through our partner and another agency, we're kind of facilitating the IT security stuff to another agency, but it kind of checks all the boxes that IT is looking for. They're not recording, anybody's names. They're not. It kind of hits all those boxes anyway, because it's more a interpretive platform than an app in a lot of ways. So that's that. I think I'm looking at some of these questions. What about audiences that aren't kids 12 and up? I think I don't know. That's probably a better question for Mary, but and
what are the audiences? Could you repeat it?
Yeah, what are the audiences that aren't kids, like 12-year-olds and up? That and what's that's another data analytics question that we might have to look up. But
well, what we're actually finding, we're getting pretty steady usage up to 23, 24 years of age, and the City of LA last week, who has now been with us like the Forest Service since we started in 2015, is finding the same thing. They were saying they've been using this with their teen camps. You can listen to the audio if you like. LA recorded the webinar, but they were saying, like, this is the first thing they've had. Like, the teenagers just love it. They were surprised because, so I think we can safely say, like, up to about 23, 24, people enjoy, but it's fun for parents to play with their kids because it's a kind of game a parent can actually be part of. So it's very family-oriented.
Right. And I'll get back to, sorry to go back to more of the logistics questions too, back to what Dee's mentioning about IT spend plans. All of the acquisition stuff is coming out of headquarters, so we'll deal with all of those logistics for this first early adopters round. And hopefully by the time there's wider implementation, we'll have more streamlined acquisition if people wanted to purchase this at a field station level or even a regional level. What do people think? Just is this something interesting to people, or? That sounds cool from Ray Patera. It's cool, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different philosophy than other third-party apps I've seen, and I like the fact that it gives the power to the frontline interpreters and environmental educators to kind of build the content they want, and it's very like you can develop it and change it as much as you'd like. So we hope there's enough people interested in just being early adopters on this. We're kind of sending out this Google search. You can share widely with other folks if they weren't able to be on this webinar, and I'm pretty sure Mary and folks are around to answer more specific questions. So if you're interested, we definitely put in
a proposal. We have a recording as well, Kristen. We have a recording.
Oh, great. So maybe we can include that in a follow-up email if folks want to pass it on to people more widely through the regions. But again, we're really looking for people that think this is a really cool idea and will be early adopters and make it a success before we open it more widely or think about a larger investment. So that's kind of what it's about. Celeste from Friends of Iroquois, please let me know who your the person you'll work with at your refuge, and I'll make sure they get it and can walk you through what you need to do. But I imagine you guys will do most of the heavy lifting there. So. Well, cool. Looks like there's some interest, and we'll send up a follow-up email to everybody who attended, and I know that Mary and Oliver are probably available for any questions you might have after it, and their contact information's up on an MChat for if you want to hear more about the Park Services engagement. We got a question for Hannah. Hannah, do you see, I guess yours are live now. Are you guys using it for environmental ed activities or in just general interpretation?
Currently, we mostly just use it for regular visitors. There's been some talk and plans about using it for EE in the future. just because where we are at restoration and sort of our capacity, that hasn't really been feasible yet, but hopefully at some point in the future it'd be really nice to be able to just give teachers sort of some of the resources, and then for them to be able to just come out here and run through it themselves. It's sort of set up that it's pretty straightforward and easy to use, but it hasn't been done yet, but hopefully.
Yeah. Great. Sounds like people are peeling off, so you're welcome to do that. Thanks for joining. And I know that one more example that is that Mary, I know, has told us that, some, or MChat maybe, somebody, like, you can turn it over to a local school and have the kids develop the challenges in some cases, which makes it even more interesting, because if they're creating games that they made, they definitely want to go out and do them. So, a lot of flexibility. So,
absolutely.
Great, guys. Yeah. Oh, Mary?
No, just the kids can start playing the mission at their school and continue it at the wildlife refuge. There's lots of options.
Great, yeah. Thanks, everybody. Have a great holiday.
Thank you. Bye now.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.